Yes. Good.
Sure.
Welcome to the January 2019 woohoo! First video where I'm tasting the subscription coffees we send out with my friend and colleague Anders Fretheim.
Hello.
Who are you, Anders?
So I work in the bar.
Yeah?
I work here in the roastery, packing coffee, and I deliver to customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I make sure all of our customers are happy.
Yes.
And the coffee is tasting good everywhere.
So, Anders has been working for us for how long?
April.
April. So, yeah. 8 months, I guess.
8 months now.
What did you do before that?
I used to run a coffee shop in Voss, or a coffee shop, beer, bar, and cafe.
That you owned yourself?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend.
And why did you come to Oslo to work for me?
Well, we missed more food, more wine.
Yeah.
Inspiration from others. It's hard to be in a small place and try and do the best you can and not have that many you can steal inspiration from.
Yeah, because Voss is a small
Yes,
town.
Voss is about 15,000 people.
Yeah.
And only about 7,000 in the center, so it's quite small.
Yeah. But if you're on your way from Oslo to Bergen, you can stop at Voss. And I know there's a good restaurant there with a great wine cellar.
Yeah.
And a coffee bar now.
Yeah, and Tre also has started taking in our coffee again.
Nice. So you can get our coffee there. So don't take the train, drive instead, and then stop at Voss. That's what I would do. But we're here to taste some coffees.
Yes.
And this month's subscription, we are welcoming a lot of new subscribers because it's been Christmas and a lot of people have given out gift subscriptions to their friends and family. So it's very nice to be able to serve some coffees virtually to new people who might not have tasted our coffee before. And so for this month, I've selected coffees that are quite different, so that you should be able to taste a big difference.
Yeah.
That's the aim. So should we start with the first one?
Let's.
Which is a coffee from Ethiopia, from Gedeb. I bought this through an importer called Belco. They're in France, and the coffee is produced by a company called Metad in Ethiopia. So they have quite a big farm, but there was a lot of challenges getting Ethiopian coffee in 2018 due to a lot of delays and so on. And at the end of the summer, I decided to go to buy a little bit of this coffee because some of the coffees that I was expecting didn't actually arrive.
No.
So this year we're looking to getting some new exciting coffees from Ethiopia because I was just there in November, December to visit farmers, and hopefully we'll get some single farm coffees from Ethiopia in 2019, but that's over summer probably. So let's start by tasting this Gedeb, which is kind of a classic coffee from Ethiopia. It's washed, so it's very clean, very fruity, citric, peach, Let's taste.
Let's see.
Fruity.
Super clean.
Not too acidic. Although you expect an Ethiopian coffee to be very acidic. It's kind of balanced with all that kind of ripe fruit flavor.
Very like tropical, sweet nectar.
Yeah. So if you want to describe this, how would you describe it?
There's apricots, peach, really clean mouthfeel, really juicy.
Yeah.
So it's not dry, it's really like smooth.
Yeah.
Silky.
Also a little floral. I'm not sure which flower, but it just reminds me of smelling flowers.
Yeah.
But the fruit is the kind of dominant flavor.
Absolutely.
It's kind of this, I call it yellow-orange flavors.
Orange vibes, yeah, definitely.
So, but it's hard for a lot of people to taste this if you just taste one coffee. So that's why we are also sending out, like we did in December, we sent out 2 very contrasting coffees. So I'm sending out some Catuaí from the Caballeros. And we have sent this coffee out before, but it's tasting really good now. When it's fresh, it's a little bit greener. And when it's kind of rested a little bit, green coffee, then you get this very chocolatey, sweet flavors. So I think that's the moment where we are now. And let's just try that.
Yeah.
Caramel and chocolate.
Yeah, like super smooth chocolate. Very, quite low acidity, and you get some sweet kind of Norwegian sweet cherries or plum kind of thing going in the end.
Yeah, definitely plum. It's kind of nice that you say low acidity, because compared to the Ethiopian, it's lower acidity. But we just tasted this in our lab next to some El Salvador and Brazilian coffees. Yeah. And then you really see that it has a lot of acidity, but the flavors are more towards like chocolate. So imagine like a dark chocolate that is a little acidic, but in a good way. Yeah. So this coffee is a Brazilian variety grown in Honduras. So Catuaí is a Brazilian developed variety. And it used to be the most common variety that was grown in Honduras. But due to leaf rust, which is a fungus that attacks the trees, this plant is not resistant to that. So people are changing to resistant varieties like cultivars and so on. Yeah. But Marysabel and Moises are very good friends of ours, the Caballero family we call them. And we have been buying coffee from them since 2009, and we have been working with them to increase the quality of how they produce the coffee. So anywhere from the picking to processing, and especially drying, we're drying on very carefully on raised beds in shade. We store it in special prepared bags and so on. So because of this, you get this really clean coffee. Yeah. This was harvested in March last year, so it's still tasting really fresh, because of this production technique, and also its vacuum packed when it comes to Norway. So two very contrasting coffee, the first one being an Ethiopian washed coffee, where we kind of don't know what varieties it is, because it's a mix. And here we are very specific from one farm and Catuaí variety. Yeah. So the first coffee is for all the ones who subscribe to 1 bag, and the ones who get 2 bags per month will also get the Catuaí. And then we go over to the third coffee, which is from the same farm in Honduras as the Catuaí, but it's a different variety. That means a different tree of coffee called Java. And this particular variety was taken from somewhere in Ethiopia or Africa once, and then over to the island of Java, and then it's going back to Cameroon, and then to Central America. And Moises, who is married to Marysabel, the Caballeros, he was given these seeds by a Bolivian farmer. Really? So, coffee seeds travel around, and it's commonly called in Central America as the little geisha, because sometimes it can have this kind of geisha flavor. I don't think this tastes a lot like geisha at all. It's more, for me, like a green tea kind of flavor. But it's very different than the Catuaí.
Yeah, definitely.
A very thick mouthfeel.
Really big, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting coffee that we don't buy a lot of because they don't grow it in big quantities. So that's why we're only sending it out to the 3-bag subscribers. Yeah. But especially as espresso, this is it's going to be going to be really creamy and nice.
Really rich. Yeah. It's really fun to taste 2 coffees from the same farm being this different.
And it's hard to do if you just taste this and then the next day you taste the other one. Yeah. So I highly recommend tasting them side by side, which is what you do in the store, right?
Yeah, one of my what we usually try to do when we do tastings with people who aren't familiar with coffee is that to try to give them, start up with, for instance, this one, something Ethiopian or Kenyan, something fruity, light, and more tea-like or more like acidic. Yeah. And pair it with something more chocolatey, more rich, more full, and then let them taste them side by side. Yeah. It's really hard for people to remember what you, as you say, tasted a week ago or a month ago.
Yeah, and a lot of times that I find, at least new guests in the store, they think coffee is just coffee. A lot of them that are not new to specialty coffee or these kind of high quality coffees is that coffee flavor is the same, but it's more or less bitter. Yeah. But it can be so much more, right?
Absolutely.
Should we try having a drink of the Java and then go back to the Gedeb just for fun? So sweet, huh?
Rich and really fills you up. And then just fruit juice.
Yeah, very fruit and light and kind of refreshing.
Totally different mouthfeel, and of course the flavors are way different.
Yes, so that's all the coffees we're going to send out this month. How would you brew this at home?
So if I'm alone, I'll make an AeroPress just like in the bar.
Yeah.
14 grams, 200 grams, 1 minute.
Yeah. We have the recipe on our webpage if you want to see that.
It's that's pretty into my muscle memory.
Yeah.
But when I'm with my girlfriend, we make a V60.
Yeah.
So usually half a liter with 30 grams of coffee.
30 grams, yeah. I think especially these floral coffees like the Ethiopian, if I'm making a filter coffee, I prefer to do like a lower dose on those. It just brings out more of that florality and that lightness.
The light feeling, yeah.
And with the Java, I could actually go up to maybe 35 grams for half a liter, just to get even more of that kind of mouthfeel and richness.
Nice.
So you can play a little bit with the dose, but also if you stick to the same dose, which I normally recommend, then if the coffee is a little too light, then you can grind a little bit finer. Yeah. And if the coffee is a little too bitter, we go a little coarser on the grind. It's kind of hard to recommend a grind setting because it depends so much on the coffee, the equipment you're using, the water. So that's why we don't really have a standard for grind settings.
Even in the bar, we change the setting as the coffee age and the changes. And so on. So it's more of tasting, and it's people are afraid to do it wrong, I think. But there's nothing wrong. It's going to taste amazing anyway. It's really good coffee. If you have good water, it's going to taste good.
That's a good point.
But and then it's fun to kind of dial it in and try to get it even better.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great anyway.
And even if you miss it by, a little bit, that it's slightly under extracted and weak, it's still going to taste much better than commercial coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, we'll leave it at that. Enjoy the coffees and stay tuned for next month's subscription video, where I will be talking with the AeroPress second place champion of Norway, who represented Norway in the AeroPress competition in Australia last year. Bye-bye.